Hey guys, Wade Willis here. The newest episode of Rent a Girlfriend, this was episode 9, titled Lies and Girlfriend, was wild as always, and I honestly thought your boy was going to finally lose his virginity. Before I move on, don't forget to smash that like button like your Kazuya smashing a box of Kleenex. The episode starts off with Kazuya joining, or he starts a part-time job. Now, we know that he's been going through his funds because of how much money he's been spending on Mizuhara. Probably not great for him to continue doing their arrangement, but whatever. And that's going to be important later on in the episode. And he's laying in bed, like cuddling up with his phone with the case, just talking about how amazing it is that Mizuhara got this for him, and he's basically being really kind of a weenie and obsessed with a gift from Mizuhara. Don't blame him, because Mizuhara is awesome, but at the same time, show some pride a little bit, bud. Then he looks up, and they don't really show what his screen is, but it seems like he sees that other guys that have rented out Mizuhara got gifts from her as well. So the gift isn't that important. Then he meets with her and is kind of telling her she shouldn't be giving guys from these things, her rent-a-boyfriends, basically, she shouldn't be giving them gifts. And she's like, well, they're my boyfriends. And they kind of get to a stalemate, but whatever, they accept it. And then Mizuhara straight up asks Kazuya if he's fallen in love with her, which he obviously lies because he's being a wuss, and he doesn't want it to end, and he thinks, this is in my opinion, he thinks that he's honest with her, there's no way that she'd actually like him, and it would just end everything, and lying and continuing on this relationship with Mizuhara, this fake relationship, is better than having no relationship with her at all. That's kind of how I'm seeing it in his head. And then she kind of says, like, hey, yeah, we need to keep this partnership going on. And they leave the restaurant together, and they're holding hands, which I was kind of a bit confused on this. So, to my knowledge, I didn't think he was paying for them to get lunch. I thought they were, like, planning stuff out, and they were just having a talk as friends. But maybe I'm wrong. If you guys had a better understanding, like, comment below and tell me what you guys thought it was. But I thought it was like a regular friends hanging out, and then they held hands, and to me, the way I analyzed it, it was like naturally they started holding hands, and then realized once people were talking about them, like, oh shoot, we're holding hands. Then Ruka-chan finds them, obviously, because she is an all-star creeper, and I can't believe it hasn't. I thought they were going to have her, like, find out that he lied to her and all this stuff, and that was going to become a big thing in this episode, but apparently not. She just wasn't a creeper on him that day when he was stalking Mizuhara. Ruka takes him out, and then blindfolds him, kinky, and ends up taking him to a love hotel. Now, I got super pumped up for Kazuya. I was like, as soon as I realized, I was like, dude, she's gonna take him to some, like, hotel or something. And she did. He misjudges it at first and thinks that she was trying to have sex with him because she took her socks off. Honestly, anyone would assume that probably if you got blindfolded, taken to a love hotel, and then the girl starts taking off some of her clothes. Probably assuming shit's about to go down. I don't know. Call me old-fashioned. So then she makes him explain the whole grandma thing to him, and Ruka basically, like, calls him out and is like, well, this is stupid. Why would you still continue this on? Like, you have a real girlfriend. Why are you continuing this fake one? And Kazuya tells her, yeah, it's because my grandma's, like, weirdly obsessed with Mizuhara, and that's what makes it more difficult, and Mizuhara and his grandma are friends. So Ruka kind of well, actually, she doesn't understand. Then she starts kind of making the moves on him. And Kazuya, which earlier on, he has come to the realization that the gift that he got from her doesn't mean anything. Mizuhara doesn't really like him. Then he has a beautiful girl, Ruka, starting to make the moves on him, and he's like freezing, like, oh, I can't do this. And there's like one point where like she's like crawling towards him and her butt's up in the air. Any person that is able to defend that when they're single, I don't understand, especially with and yes, I know Ruka is being very clingy and creepy, to be honest, in this. But I don't know many men that would be able to defend that. Kazuya runs away, and I was extremely disappointed with him in this point. Because again, guys, if you're not disappointed with him, and you're like, oh, well, he likes Mizuhara. Yeah, well, they're not dating. They've never kissed. She wouldn't even kiss him when she was pretending to be his girlfriend. So, again, I understand that he does like her and he's in love with her. I get it. But maybe this would help him get less obsessed with her and maybe not stalk. The last episode, he followed her around the whole episode like a creeper. So, not stable. Maybe he needs to have sex with Ruka and start moving on. Would it be a smart idea now that I'm thinking about it? Possibly not, because she's already a stalker and they haven't had sex. So, and I don't even think they've made out, to my knowledge, either. So, a bit alarming, but whatever. She's cute. She can get away with a lot more than someone who isn't. And you guys may hate me for saying that, but it's true. Cute people get away with a lot more. And she's like he has to run to the bathroom and is like venting about everything. And like he was almost like hyperventilating, like, oh, I almost broke from that. Walks out. Oh, right before he walks out, she sees that he got a text from his grandma about New Year's and stuff with her family. So this is going to be important. Duh. And one thing with this show, if there's anything written on a screen, you almost need to pause, because sometimes they translate what was written too quickly. This one was okay, but the episode before I had to like rewatch it, and I actually like missed a lot of stuff. And then at the very end of the episode, I think, later in the episode, there's a part where you need to almost pause it or you're not going to get everything. So just something to be aware of with this show, because you can miss it if you're kind of just breezing along casually watching the show. And there is important stuff in there. So he goes out with Mizuhara. She's going to charge him, of course, to go out with his family, grandma, and they meet up, and Ruka shows up. Strong flex by Ruka, not telling Kazuya that she's going and just showing up. My opinion, not really the best way to make a guy want to date you for real. Most people would start to pump the brakes even more if they saw that she just takes it upon herself to do that. A bit unstable, to say the least. And I feel bad for her because she's like in love with Kazuya, and I understand the whole heart condition thing, but she can probably find someone better for her that is going to be into her. But again, the heart wants what the heart wants, so that's how these things work. And she tells his family that she's dating him, and then kind of pandemonium breaks out. Kazuya has to meet with his grandma. She like pulls him aside, is beating the crap out of him, which is super funny. And then Kazuya, I don't think this is probably the best maneuver if he ever planned on dating Ruka, which I don't think he ever did. But if you want to actually date someone, telling your family that this girl is a compulsive liar and just a friend with your fake girlfriend, not the best move to get your family to like her. Which, even though she was being a weirdo showing up uninvited, you kind of feel bad for her having, because then his family is basically all in on her being a liar, which she isn't, and they're like, oh, like nodding, like, oh yes, and they like feel bad for Mizuhara because he makes it out that Mizuhara has like dealt with this and they've been friends for a long time. So kind of crappy for Ruka, but she did come uninvited and had to make Kazuya, who's not the best at coming up with good ideas on his feet, come up with something on his feet. My man is not super sharp. Ruka pulls Mizuhara to the side, and then she calls her out on their crap and asks, like, do you actually like him? Because what you're doing is not right as a rent-a-girlfriend. You're, like, hanging out with his family. You're, like, coming ingrained into the family. This is wrong. And she basically says, I think that you do like him. And Mizuhara denies it. We know that she kind of likes him. Obviously not as much as Kazuya does. But I like that Ruka does kind of say what she thinks. The other two are so passive and they like don't really know how they truly feel, or they can't admit it. She, like, if she sees something, she will call it out, which is going to burn bridges, I think, in the future. And I'm guessing that she probably has very few or no friends based on her personality, because that doesn't really fly, especially with girls. You can have dudes can have a friend like that, but it's doesn't really fly like that for girls. So the dinner's awkward. Family's acting like they believe everything that Ruka is. They're staring at her like she's a ghost and just like nodding with her. She gets super pissed at Kazuya. Justified. Everyone's slightly justified in their own way in this episode, which it makes it kind of interesting because you're like, I see where this person's coming from, but they're also being psycho or they're also being an idiot. So kind of interesting. Then they go to the shrine, and Grandma and Ruka go missing. And everyone's freaked out. The parents are freaked out because the grandma's missing. She like falls and stuff. Obviously, Kazuya and Mizuhara are worried because they're afraid that she's going to spill the beans on the whole rent-a-girlfriend thing. She's talking to the grandma, realizes that the grandma is strangely infatuated with Mizuhara, and she can't break the truth to her and feels bad. And then tells Kazuya, like, hey, like, you better be ready for, like, a long fight, because, like, for some endurance, because I'm going to fight for this. And then this is one of the part that I was talking about. Mizuhara, Ruka gets a fortune that basically says, like, hey, it's not the right time for love for you. Mizuhara gets one that basically says, hey, there's someone close to you, like a friend, that is a potential, like a nice guy that's a potential love interest, but don't like force it. And then Kazuya gets one saying that he can't win battles against girls and that there's a lot of storms coming his way with regards to relationships. So that's one of those things, like, they kind of flash it a bit quick. So it's kind of one of those things, if you see one of them happen, like, I would suggest rewinding a few seconds and get ready for the pause, because sometimes they do it a little too quickly to catch it. So that's just one thing. I don't dislike it, but it's just something to be aware of in the show, because a lot of the stuff that's written is really funny that you can miss. Then the episode basically is ending, and you find out after the credits that Ruka-chan has joined Kazuya's work. Again, she is pulling every card out of like Stalker Girlfriend handbook, it is. I feel bad for my girl. Like, she's cute and she's had that, basically that heart condition, has never felt like the feeling of love before, and never felt her heart race like someone who's in love. And Kazuya is like, he's basically like a drug to her, that she like needs, and she wants to feel alive. That's how I'm kind of seeing it. So I do feel for her, and she's aware that she is an attractive, cute girl now. So to her, she doesn't, it's kind of hard for her. Like, she thinks that Kazuya and Mizuhara must like each other, because why else would they be going through this? And like, why is he not going all in? Because she is cute and she does care for him, but she's just going too hard on it. And I mean, it makes sense, like all of her gripes that she comes up with, like, why are you still doing this with the grandmas? It would be easier if you just said I was your girlfriend, which I am technically. Now, she did blackmail him to make her his girlfriend. So that girlfriend is kind of in quotations, but she is justified in her opinion too, because they're dragging this out, and it's just going to make it worse and worse. Really, as soon as it started with Ruka, if they would have said, hey, it just didn't work out with the grandmas, and then at the New Year, I think they started dating probably almost 3 weeks ago at least, because I know it was before Christmas. It was like weeks before Christmas, I think. And if I'm wrong, let me know how long it was, but I think it's been at least 3 weeks. That's a bit of a buffer that you can kind of, at least at New Year's, like say, hey, like I have a new girlfriend, or maybe you even wait until after New Year's because you don't want that pressure of the first time you meet the family being New Year's, because that is a bigger deal in Japanese culture, I think. So, but yeah, guys, what did you think about the episode? How do you feel about how Kazuya is handling this? Do you feel that Mizuhara also likes him, and I think she's continuing this on because she wants it to continue on with him, not just the financial reasons. So, but yeah, guys, let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions.
Hey guys, this is Wade Willis. Thanks for watching my video. Here's 2 other videos I think you might like, and don't forget to subscribe to my page.